हर हर महादेव नमस्कार सभी को. Many of you have missed the first session that we did, and there's been quite many queries. A lot of DMs had come, people asking questions, and it was like more of unfair and very difficult to sit down and keep interacting with each and everyone on an individual basis. Whatsoever we thought, let this whole thing be like, let it be interactive, and that's what our group is meant for. We can have an open interaction. Whatever queries you have, just express it out, and let's take it ahead. Yes, we can begin with the case study part. Technically, that's what I was wanting to do, because there's a new case study that I have. I thought of sharing with you all. I wouldn't say new case study, because technically the case is quite old, but this whole episode started around somewhere around last year, and we've been working on it, and some new facts have emerged forward, and uh, the actual person whom we were treating, whom we were working with, is a child. But then what comes to light is also the mother, who is having troubles, and we've been diving into that particular case past couple of days. I should say maybe past 2, 3 days, 4 days. So I thought, let me try sharing with you all, and also one more case of last time where I had shared that this person had been influenced by a sadhu. We call him sadhu or a newbie or whatsoever, someone who is like, a wannabe, uh, a wannabe sadhu, because when you are such pure at heart, pious at heart, such kind of things you will never gonna do towards anybody, such selfishly. So I did receive few DMs on that, especially from some really wise ones, I would say, on the D1 chart, that it's 1:11 ratio working out. So I thought, let me try including the D9 chart of it, so that you all get a better navigation into that particular case. So let's begin with that one first. This was the D1 chart, if you all remember. For ones who were coming for the first time or maybe have missed out, this case I had shared, this person had been to Kumbh Mela, happened to meet a sadhu over there, stayed at his what do you call, at his pandal, in his tent along with him. Although there were three friends also who had accompanied him, the sadhu made other three just leave, and this guy stayed there alone. Eventually, this guy was so very strongly influenced by the sadhu. When he came back, all he could say is like, this guy can see Mahadev everywhere, whether it is garbage, whether it is food, it's temple, it's bricks, it's stone, everywhere he's only seeing Mahadev. In a way, good. It's a good thing. You are getting closer to the divine, but this is not what actually was happening. Couple of months, and then this guy is like wanting to visit the place where the sadhu is building a temple. That's it, to Jain, building his own temple. And this guy goes over there, works like a literal, a labor, contract labor, like absolute menial job. There is no issue in doing a menial job, absolutely not for such a pure cause. However, was it being done willingly, or were you made to do it? That comes the question. Now, looking at the D1 chart, if you see, you have Moon, which is at 11th position from Rahu. I had given the technical details of it, technically, how this relationship building up. Although via BNN, we also have another combination out there wherein Rahu and Moon are having a combination of 1:11, because 11th from its place. But till what percentage that effect will happen, that is limited. So for that reason, I've included the D9 chart. If you all have had a look at the D1 chart, I'd like to go to the next chart now, D9 of the same person. Now watch this chart very clearly. How this person is actually transformed. I'll show you D1 once again. Take screenshots, have a look at it. What's the ascendant in D1? Who is sitting at the D1 house? You go to D9, the whole match changes. In D1, where is Saturn sitting? Second house, right? Finally, I get a combination of Saturn Rahu moon. Too strong. That too in Kendra. Of course, the life has transformed post 30. Reading this particular chart, what do you all have to say? Anybody would like to comment? Most of us are enthusiasts on the subject, so anybody having to contribute. For the D9, I don't have the degrees right away, Violet. Okay. So the chat says, I got the message up there. Ketu in the seventh house. All right. Good observation, Virpi. Anybody? Anything more? The person is very strongly affected with paranormal energies. Yes, there is a Vishok, certainly. There is a Vishok. However, Vishok doesn't really create much of an impact. I have plenty clients who are having Vishok, and it works really well with it. The kind of support, emotional support, empathy, understanding, help towards the other person, what Saturn Moon people can give, most of them fail. They are some of the great counselors, good to support each other, great to advise others. So technically, Vishwak is like over exaggerated unnecessarily. Not really required to be so worried about. Who all are playing with Moon? We have Rahu, we have Saturn. Yeah, in a way, we can say maybe Ketu also, but that's fine. The person is very badly affected at his mental health level. Now, whether we call it mental health, I don't want to get into a detailed language of the paranormal, how it has affected him, because he was actually being tied up with paranormal energies in order to make him do things which they wanted him to do in terms of money, in terms of labor, in terms of work and effort. One command and he'll rush over there to go and meet them. One command and he'll pour out whatever money he has and whatever he can arrange from us, unfortunately. Shopit Yog. Sumita ji, could you please elaborate? You can please unmute and elaborate. Shopit Yog.
Yes, Shakti Yoga is when Rahu and Saturn is conjunct in any house.
Correct.
And I've also read that when there is Shapit Yoga in any kundli, the person gets easily affected by evil eyes and such things.
Thank
Even I
you.
have in my kundli D1, Rahu and Saturn.
Okay. Okay. But okay, good you mentioned that. So, will every person be affected?
No, not every person.
Not every person. That's good. Thank you for bringing to light. Good point. Anyone else wanting to add anything? What are the possibilities you all think this person can recover? Like get back to a steady, normal person's life. Do you think there is a possibility?
Yes, I
Any
think
possibility? Yeah.
Jupiter is in the Kendra and it's the Lord. So, looking at the 10th house, so there
Hmm.
is definitely a possibility that Jupiter can help this client.
Okay. So Jupiter's presence over there. All right. Anyone else wanting to add anything? Jupiter present in the Kendra. Can we get some blessings, some support from Jupiter? So much silence. Why? It's not about saying a right answer. I hope you all understand.
Uh, Sir,
Yes, please,
I
Vidyati.
don't understand this North Indian style charts at all, sir.
My
I've learned from,
sincere apologies now with that.
no problem, but I only, I've learned it from South Indian style, so till today I'm not able to read this North Indian style at all, sir.
Okay, so going forward, my next session onwards, I'll try to make sure to include North as well as South Indian in the same screen itself. So
Yeah, yeah.
everyone can have a reference, so none of us will be deprived from it. At the
Okay,
moment,
thank
for
you.
your information, if you want, I can just verbally tell you, and you could draw it, or maybe it's there before you. Maybe you could create a South Indian version of the chart,
Yeah, I'm
and
doing
then
that
maybe
actually,
add
sir.
from. Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing that. So it's like, sharp that both the Vish Yog and the Sharpet Yog together might be a strong cause for the paranormal energy, sir.
Uh, yes and no. As far as Vish Yoga is concerned, let's not even think about it. That's okay. There are plenty
Hmm.
cases, plenty. That's okay. Paranormal, yes, it's becoming intense with Rahu, Saturn, and Moon, and this is a karmic thing. Plus, the person is going through Sadhasati.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
yes.
paranormal had affected, but has it affected him so extremely badly? Not really. He's also taken advantage in order to gain sympathy so that he doesn't have to go through a lot of difficulty. Kinda, you can say, running away from responsibility because has seen too much of failures, so too much of difficulties. So कहते हैं ना कि trying to play a victim card and earn benefit out of it, that also has been done. That also has been happening. The poor wife has to slog around and keep taking effort and run all the expenses and play all the duties. And this guy will sit back and relax. But having said that, the effect of the energies which has happened on his mind, on his mental capability, that cannot be denied. That's really been very bad. And when Saturn, Moon, and Rahu are in the ascendant in D9, that itself speaks a lot. They could have been anywhere. Why only the ascendant? Does that mean the whole life is supposed to be driven around this core thing, this one major issue now? So far, that's what it seems to us like. Until he completely recovers, which we are doubting, things are only getting bad day by day. We're just hoping something good happens. No other questions on this? No other inputs, no other queries? Can we go ahead with this one? The next chart? Just give
But
me a
what
thumbs up.
kind? Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
sure.
Guruji. What kind of remedies would you tell this guy with all this going on?
This guy will not listen to any remedy.
Oh, okay.
In fact, it's I had shared last time. This case is outside the boundary of astrology. Astrology can only take us till a certain point wherein we can understand that this chart is prone to such kind of an issue, such kind of a problem. There are cases where there is certain problem being identified, and astrology can help us identify what that root cause is. Is that purely a health issue, or is there something else at play in the back end? The next case is similar. To answer your question over here, astrology can only help us get to know what the chart speaks, what maybe his past aspects is. If there is some really right person with capability of TLR, so TLR along with the chart can help us understand what the person probably must have done before. Maybe identify areas where you could rectify things, but that's it, nothing more. Technically, there is no remedy from the side of astrology. It's the path of spirituality which has the remedy where things can be probably addressed and where you can try to take care of it. That's it. Nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. Nothing
Thank
more can be
you.
done.
So, Ankurji, I have heard that in few temples, right? I mean, if
Hmm.
certain person goes, they kind of recover. Like, I know one of my relative was like kind of affected, and he went to Salanpur Hanumanji temple. It's there in
Hmm.
near Ahmedabad, and
Hmm.
he kind of recovered from that particular.
Correct. So there are certain Jagrut styles which really have very strong blessing and the presence of the deities who have that blessing. Mendipur Balaji, Ma Kamakya,
Yeah,
there are lots such places which are like, highly blessed and highly evolved. And there are such places are there across the country, multiple locations. But is there a cure for 100% for each person? No, sir.
hmm,
No, sir. Unfortunately. Because let's get to the root of it. Why, at the first instance, has this happened? Prarabh, unfortunately, the deeds must have been of an extent where something of this sort is being called for. Imagine roaming around naked. That's not a joke. The person is actually having no control on his mind.
right.
That's really not easy for something of this sort to happen. So yes, there are cases who actually completely get cured. There are cases it takes time, and there are cases where things can actually go messed up. Because when entities are used for such kind of purpose, what are they doing? It's your mind. The moon is playing a very strong and important role over here, unfortunately. And that's what gets affected. I'll go to the next case. Okay, let's talk about this one. This is new for you all. And this will give you maybe some lessons as to few things you all are supposed to take care of. Not just you, as in it's applicable on me and each one of us in our day to day life. We end up making such a mistake, but that's not advisable. Ever happened to visit any friend's home, cousin's home, relative's home? Maybe your first cousin. End up having shower over there, wear his or her clothes. Ever happened with you all that you visited your friend, your relative, your cousin,
Yeah.
had a shower, wore their clothes, but I am
And
sure what I'm about to share, that part has not happened. I'm really happy if it has not happened. Let it be so always with you all. So this case is
in
about a family. I would say they are in some part of the world. And it's a present case, so I don't want to get into specifics. They're in some part of the world. And very simple family. Simple as in these guys are, मैं बोलूंगा आपको कि भोले, you know, the bhola, this word has what kind of literal meaning? They are such kind people. You tell them one thing, they'll completely give a blind faith on you. Something which is not right as per the current times. Husband, wife, two children. Now we are talking about maybe around 15, 20 years back. So the wife is pregnant with the second child and she is visited by someone, one of her relatives, and things have been fine. The pregnancy has been going fine. Everything is okay. And there was some reason for which they had to visit another relative. Now, this another relative whom they visited, of course, the first one and the second one, they are related to each other. So when they visited over there, she actually was not carrying any clothes or, they were not prepared to stay overnight. And for some reason, they had to stay overnight. She takes a shower over there. She wears the clothes of that lady. Everything is nice. They all spend some good family time. After much later point, they get to know that this lady has had some mental health issues. What exactly has been the problem? Undisclosed till date. Facts have been hidden. Things go fine. The pregnancy is going on, the period is going on. Uh, she gives birth to a healthy child. Once the child is born, within few months, the mother suffers with stroke on her brain, resulting into paralysis of one side of her body entirely. Totally helpless. She is on, I mean, bedridden, of course. It's complete paralysis. Eventually, with time, she recovers. However, the impact even today, she cannot move around independently. She has to be on a wheelchair, unfortunately. I've got the D1 chart for you all. Please have a look. These relatives, who are they? There's a beautiful Hindi word. I need to use Hindi right now. Sagge wale. Literally sagge wale. Blood relations. So no far off cousin and all that. Blood relations. They are the ones who have played these games with them. I'll go to D9. So with their actions, they targeted the child who was not yet born, the unborn child. Probably she was in her 6th or 7th month of pregnancy, maybe 8, not more than that. The child unborn was targeted, the mother was targeted, the family was targeted. And what they did was they passed on their problem onto someone else. Why making use of wrong means? Think over it. Whom do you trust? That too in a blood relation has to do this to you. D1. Any comments on the chart? Do you think there is a possibility of something of this sort happening with them?
No.
Rahu is in 10th
Uh,
house, Moon is in the ascendant in Cancer, first house.
Rahu is retro, so maybe it might give the previous house effect and it will come like 5-9.
Not really that way. So Rahu is always retro. Rahu Ketu always retro. But
Oh,
if it needed to be either connected by aspect or trine or some kind of conjunction or exchange of planets, something of that sort. Exchange is also not happening in this case with Rahu.
Sir, pardon my ignorance. How did we come to the conclusion that the relatives played a role in things that happened with them?
Uh, Priya, could you please repeat the question? The volume was
Sir,
very low.
sorry. Sir, I was
No
just
problem.
trying to understand how did we come to the conclusion that the relatives played a role in this?
Okay. So, for your information and for everyone, this case again is from our group only, nothing from outside. It's one of our group members, no one outside.
Okay.
And when we connected on the call with them, uh, besides me, there was someone else, someone far much more evolved, not an astrologer, but someone with an expertise on the subjects like paranormal and energies. And a lot of mentions were done, a lot of indications were given, a lot of hints were passed, a lot of inputs were given from our side, which were not deniable. Going to the extent that this person just 2 days back told them that you all have been invited for some kind of a vidai, you know, you all have been invited for some kind of a vidai. And the people were like, no, no, nothing of that sort has happened. Yeah, there is a marriage invitation and things like these. And they were like, no, just watch. Anything of this sort is coming, please just say no. And right yesterday, I received a message that the same people, the same family who had affected them, their mother, she has actually written in her text on WhatsApp that please don't attend the wedding on so and so day. I want you all to come during the bidai. So there were plenty mentions, as in plenty mentions, which actually clearly been pointing on to the person that who is responsible and how things have happened. This was already being told कि बिदाई में ये चीज होगी. Of course, I didn't say this is not. I told you all. My reach is still astrology. Now this goes beyond that. So there are better evolved people who are supposed to take care of the subject like this. And when it was mentioned that it is bidai, what more do I say? We had already informed them you will not be attending the wedding. You come up with whatever reason you want to. You will not be attending the wedding. Besides that, a lot of other symptoms were told. The whole appearance of the person was being described. Behavior was being described. Certain set of actions, certain set of incidents that have happened in the with the family during those periods that was being described, and this is how things came to light. So that's the answer, PIT.
But, sir, do we get to know that from the chart?
It's very much possible for us to indicatively understand and arrive on to know who could be the possible people behind doing something like this. There's fairly very bright chances that we can get some indications about it. And besides that, in order to understand this whole case, chart is only reference for us as an astrologer.
Now, when you go to D1, there is no connect of Rahu Moon happening in my D9 chart. Rahu Moon relationship definitely happens,
Mm.
right? Rahu Moon relationship is happening. Anything else that is connecting Moon with it? None. Can we see a possibility of this person suffering from a paralysis or a brain stroke or both from this chart? So this is where astrology comes into the picture. As an astrologer tomorrow, whether you're doing someone is practicing professionally or for individually out of their own wishful choice, or maybe for someone of your well-wisher, friends, relatives who were to look at the chart, it is not always the problem. One always needs to understand what is the root of the problem. Once the root of the problem is identified, only then we can go forward. If a particular person says that I'm having the body has been affected with paralysis, and now your chart doesn't speak that at all, then what is at play? Let's take another example. Let's say the couple was supposed to be getting divorced. The charts are clearly saying divorce happening, and that has not happened. Why it has not happened? You need to know the answer. You might not tell it to them for a moment, that's fine. But you need to know the answer as an astrologer. Similarly, for such severe cases, delicate cases, we need to know what is at play. If the person is suffering, is there some mischievousness? Is there something more wrong than what seems to your naked eyes? Because what are doctors going to say? Doctors will never be able to answer. The previous case, the earlier case where the person, there were four ghosts being on command, which made sure this person acted, danced, moved, did everything on whatever the sadhu wanted him to do. There were four ghosts which are controlling the whole thing for that sadhu. What is a medical doctor going to say? They'll call him bipolar. They'll call him schizophrenic or maybe a mental disorder, and that's it. Topics will end. They will never be able to address the core issue of it. And this is where we come into the picture. Because what Sanatan says, what astrology says, what the spirituality says, we are able to see far much beyond where science cannot see. This case, please have a look. Is there any such combination that makes us say that yes, this person is bound to suffer from paralysis? Much more than that, I can see this person has a possibility to have issues with mind. Definitely, that's gonna happen. Even though there is a support of Jupiter in this in the first house, Jupiter Moon. Yes, now there is a Gaj Kesi Yoga. Mars is also debilitated over there. So what? Going forward, what happened with the family? Moon alone in Pisces, Jupiter goes to Leo, the Lord Sun goes to ninth house. The effect of paranormal energy might not be seen so strongly. It will be difficult to interpret, which is where we have to analyze the chart in every particular aspect and then arrive on the readings at what is the outcome, what is the probability of it. Anything anyone wants to add? Any questions?
Ankushji, what
Anji.
about 11th house, not 11th, I think it's 8th house, Lord,
Mm-hmm.
is Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
It's retrograde in ninth,
Mm-hmm.
right? Would that suggest anything?
One moment. In the D1, you're saying, right?
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
that same Saturn is located in 6th house in D9. I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, 6th house.
So eight Lord Saturn is sitting in ninth house and it's retrograde. It's at 03 degree. So that any see first of all, retro planet as it is going to affect the previous house as well as its own house. More or 3 degree as it is brings it back to the previous house. When I go back to previous house, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Moon is 6 from here, but other than that, Saturn is playing a role with Saturn Moon a 4, 8, 12 trine. These are the aspects. This is the way how we study in BNN. Trine is a triangle. We form triangles. So 4, 8, 12 trine, Saturn becomes part of it, wherein Saturn affects the moon. And Saturn Rahu chemistry is also as it is also worked out. So we have Saturn Rahu plus we have Saturn Moon combination goes complete.
Yeah.
Typical Parashari won't be able to answer this, which is why the whole title of the thing was like BNN because BNN gives you far much more deeper and beyond perspective than usually what things seem like. Then you come over here, you have Rahu, Moon, and Venus. Technically, Venus can help. There is a possibility. There are things we are working on. We don't want to talk right now. Maybe in time, when the time comes, when we have some updates, I'll surely will share with you all. Till then, we're going to be quiet.
So are you saying that the BNN version helps to identify more on the paranormal side than the
Oh,
BP?
no, 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 no. Okay. So,
Or we
BNN.
consider both?
So I've chosen this time to begin with my live sessions because there was a lot of delicate cases that were coming across, and somehow it just kept coming one after other. Don't have to even go scouting for them, not at all. It just came from our group itself. There were sufferings and there were like unexplainable scenes, situations happening in people's life. Good they got in touch and glad they got in touch with me and we took it ahead. Normal Parashari, you won't get the complete answers. I make use of Parashari as well as BNN, but my lead factor will always be BNN. That's how I proceed ahead with BNN, Vigunandinadi. Let's keep this aside. Let's talk about divorce case, marriage separation. If Parashari says there has to be a divorce, if Parashari says there has to be a divorce, and someone has to make a claim, 110% divorce hoga. Mind my words. These words come from someone else, someone very intellectual. 110% divorce will happen. What would you say if the divorce doesn't happen? I'm open for questions or I'm open for feedback, views, replies.
If they are spiritual, maybe that's when they get the grace
Okay,
of their deity so that they don't go through the divorce.
okay, all right,
Probably the other partner's chart is a little stronger,
okay.
and
Anybody else? So we have got one spirituality. The partner chart maybe has the possibility to, uh, support, ensure that the divorce doesn't happen. Okay, what else?
Some remedies they would have taken to
Remedies
provide.
they will have taken. First of all, at the first context, thank you for your time, but the whole reading was done wrong. The whole reading was done wrong. Why? Because that's where I find the whole limitations of Parashari coming in. This marriage is not gonna end up into divorce. Unless and otherwise, only one of the companions, it's a live case. I don't want to get into whether it's male or the female, just to, ensure I'm protecting the identity of the persons. So only the moment only one of the companions decides I want a separation to happen, only then the separation will happen. So when this case came to me, this person had spoken to some of the top astrologers, like really well known, thousands and no, no, thousands is the wrong word. Hundreds of thousands of followers, hundreds and thousands of followers. Such kind of astrologers they had spoken with, and they spoke with me, and I'm like, "What do you want?" And I was told, "We don't want a divorce." Like, okay, it's not happening. And they were like, "No, it's being told." There are these many astrologers who are saying, and the latest one being 110% there is a divorce happening. And I'm like, no, it's not happening. If it's completely in your call. This 110% divorce was supposed to happen quite some time back. We have passed that period. After this 110% divorce, a small stage was going to come as being predicted by that astrologer where things could seem to be pacifying. But since there has not been a divorce, there's no question of pacifying. Nothing of that sort is happening. The point is, my readings went right. No, that's not the point. The point is, PNN readings were right. How you read the chart, the whole approach of BNN comes very differently. It's just not the usual. I mean, how long does it take for a person to open a chart? Let's say there is a couple. How many minutes will it take via Parashari method to arrive and reply whether this couple is going to have a divorce or not? How many minutes will it take? What all you are going to see? You all will see the D1, you all will see the D9, you all will see the nakshatra aspects, degrees. No, degree barely. A lot of time will be given into the nakshatra areas. How much time will be invested? Think about it. 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, via BNN, we would have seen 10 charts, 10 couples, 10 charts answered. That with accuracy. So it's not about speed, never. It's about there is someone who's genuinely suffering, and you need to dive into that person's life. Two aspects play a very important role over here. One, how well are you understanding this person's chart using astrology? Number one. Number two, how well the person who's reading the chart, how spiritually risen are they themselves, so that they can dive into the life of that person and try to extend that help. Two factors matter a lot, based on which everything else depends. Bhrigu Nandi Nadi gives us a very different way of looking at the whole entire chart. Parashari never can. Never can. Parashari has its limitations. Let me share this. Uh, you all know who are Saptarishis. Can I assume everyone knows who Saptarishis are?
The seven wise men.
Seven wise men. Okay. Anybody else? What more? What are Saptarishis? Please share. Please unmute and share it with us in the group.
I'm not too familiar, so any advice that I could be given from this perspective would be much appreciated.
All right, Arjuna ji. Anybody else like to say?
Ashwatthama, uh, Vibhishana,
No, 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 Vidyaji. Those are seven Chiranjeevis.
Sapta Sanjeevanis.
I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about Saptarishis. So
Yeah,
the
okay.
seven Rishi Munis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brahmaji created them, so to speak, right?
Absolutely. They are created by Brahmaji, Brahmadev, and they receive enlightenment, knowledge, all information of the Srishti, the universe, from Swayam Mahadev. Absolutely. Bilkul sahi, Smita ji.
Brihaspati.
Amongst those, one of the seven rishis is Rishi Bhrigu. And Rishi Bhrigu is the one who is part of Bhrigu Nandi Nadi. Rishi Bhrigu's another disciple is Rishi Nandi, who received knowledge from him, who worked on it further. So Rishi Bhrigu received the knowledge of astrology besides other things from whom? Mahadev. From Mahadev to Rishi Bhrigu to Nandi to a timeline where everything was lost and bits and pieces were being gathered back. Why was it lost? Plenty invasions, battles, Mughals, British, name it, and they all are responsible. All are responsible. Finally, bits and pieces were gathered back, and what we have today is those bits and pieces gathered back collectively forming Virigu Nandinari. Now, simply do a Google search. When was Parashari created? EPHS. When was it created? You'll be amazed at the timelines if you realize. BNN started way long back. BNN never depends on the birth time. Yes, although for certain delicate answers we do need birth time accurate because those things are like that. But other than that, it doesn't really matter. Back then, who had watches? People used to look high up in the sky and understand, recognize what time is it of the day. Not might be probably with 100% accuracy, but fairly decent. And they had their own means of different kind of watches and clocks using nature as a medium. But when you look at it today, like two generations back, one generation back, there are people who didn't have watches, but we are still able to make predictions. We are able to give answers. I've seen BPHs go around in so many plenty number of cases, but VNN doesn't. I don't have my birth time. Yeah, so what? I don't know the exact longitude latitude. Yeah, so what? You're still born. That's enough. You still will have the answers. So the purity or the essence or the power of the subject is way too stronger. But unfortunately, even that knowledge is not fully available. We lost it. We have of course lost even Parashar and there's plenty research. Plenty. We had so much of gap. It's all gone. We don't have access to. But still today, whatever we have, collectively we use it. So I personally I combine VPHS with BNN and that's how I proceed with the chart. But primarily for me it's always gonna be BNN on the lead. That's what gave us success. We were on the 110% divorce case. That is that's an epic fun case to talk about. Someday we'll discuss it. Definitely we'll discuss it someday. Okay. Anything, anyone? Because now I'm actually open to conversation with you all. In the WhatsApp group, I had announced if you all have any queries, we are looking forward to an interaction. And which is why we repeated the same topic. Else today's session would have been on something else. And something else means completely opposite to paranormal. We'll talk about it later. At the moment, anyone with any queries?
Sir, is there a way we can actually protect ourselves before anything happens, or because this looks like can happen anytime without it's unannounced. So
Absolutely. It can happen anytime unannounced. Now, let's divide the audience. Let's take primarily we, the people in this group, and anybody and everybody who has fairly good interest in astrology as a subject. Okay. Now, when our charts indicate that there is a possibility of the person getting affected by paranormal energies, we might as well take steps to keep ourselves safeguarded. How does that happen? The biggest support any person could have is their Ishtadev on good entities. Yes, is our Ishtadev the biggest and the strongest support. Your Ishtadev has been with you before your birth. Your Ishtadev is there with you in this life. Whether you ignore him, whether you adore him, whether you know him or not, you pray him or not, irrespective of that. And your Ishta is going to be with you even after your death. That's the only one thing which is going to be there with you. And that's the only support you require. There are cases where people don't realize and they have lived their life. That's okay. That's unaware. We are not even talking about those category people. But there are people who are actually aware. And when you're aware and embracing your Ishta, why not? Why not? We humans, we end up wasting our life, being in love with an ex person, an ex female or a male or whatever, blindly in love. Oh, I'll waste my life. I'll give away my whole life waiting for this girl to come back. There are such people who behave like this. Why can't we do this for our Ishta? Why can't we have this unselfish love towards your own deity who has been there with you, who has given you everything, literally everything? So that's the biggest support side which comes. And then, addition to that, when you see there is a small possibility of such kind of energies affecting us, we might as well be safe. As in, be careful, be careful, avoid such places, avoid negative energy people, try to avoid consuming food or something given by someone whom you don't really fully trust. That's okay. No need to eat everything given by everyone. Just not needed. You might seem rude at the max. People might say that, oh no, that guy is really rude. Very good if you get labeled as rude. Why? Because tomorrow they are not going to pursue. They are never going to pursue. It will be called as rude and over. So take care of that. And still, if something happens, if it's destined to happen, Mahadev, Mahesh to whom I believe blindly, it's all surrendered to him. He takes care. Whether we deal with such kind of cases, whether we are interacting with such kind of cases, whether we are visiting such kind of places where such energy doesn't matter. My Mahadev takes care of it. Absolutely. How can we protect our children who lack dedication required to be on a spiritual path? Aparajita ji. It can't be forced, no?
Ankuji,
Yeah, Arjun ji, just one moment, please. So, Aparajita ji, this cannot be forced. Where it begins is at least when you can create that kind of an atmosphere at home, which could try to bring in right vibrations, right positive energies inside the home. Listening to those mantra, chants, slow, a lot of changes can happen. So maybe you could begin with such baby steps. Children will always be fascinated and going to be attracted towards Avengers and Spider-Man and Marvels and this and that. You have to present things to them in a different manner, such that they find it very interesting and curious to look into the subject, try to understand what Sanatan and look forward to. In fact, Arjuna ji in the group is a very good example. Being in UK, but absolutely far much evolved, not carried away like something that can contradict Sanatani, not at all. Some people give prasad, which is difficult to refuse. What to do then? Take it and feed it to a guy. गैया को खिलावे आप. Feed it to a cow or let it be sent into a flowing water. Doesn't matter. Talk to your Ishta. Tell him, I'm sorry. When you are unsure of the energy of the other person or the intent of the other person, refuse it. Simply say, my guru has said not to do this. End of topic. Now, only a dumb person will not understand what do you mean by that. Say that. When you say, my guru has said no, I have received Guru Diksha, my guru has said no, not to take. End of topic. खत्म हो गई बात. शांति से. Just fine and close it. Not needed. I don't want. So don't worry. Could you please give your perspectives on good entities? Good entities. Entities are good as well. I've had one childhood experience, but other than that, not really too much. I'll share mine, but Walidji, if you could please clarify what exactly do you mean when you say good entities? So I'll have a better picture, better clarity to understand and go forward.
Like angels, etc.
Ah, to be honest, I don't really know much about angels, etc. Anything which is outside the Sanatan, I'm really unaware of that aspect of it. So in that case, I'll request you to kindly bring to light things if you are aware. But when I see things from the Sanatan perspective, which I'm sure eventually translates in the same manner, because technically what you call as angels are the beings at higher realms.
Hmm.
Now, at the moment, if you were to see our first session, the very first session that we had on Pitrodosh, we spoke about Bhuloka and we spoke about what happened after that in terms of that very small part of Vaitarni Nadi and the journey of the soul. Now, while if the particular soul has not attained, has died unhappily, or probably is not receiving the right support to be able to go on its journey, go further on its journey. In that case, what is going to happen? That particular soul is going to be just around over here within our physical plane and realm. Okay. Now that's a lower side. Then next lecture we spoke about various entities and various kind of beings, which again come from lower realm. But when you look at the higher realm, where you have far much more evolved people, right, starting from Rishi Munis to everyone else, the different dimensions they are in, it's a totally different realm. So the angels that you're talking about, I would believe they belong to that realm. To my experience, the interaction that we have had, some role wherein some blessing comes into picture, and you are given an indication of there is something you shouldn't do, or there is something that you should be taking care of, or something that you could avoid from happening. I said initially there's a uh, personal incident, my own childhood incident that we have. I can share about that with you all. This happened in Mathiran. People who don't know Mathiran, it's a small station in the outskirts of Mumbai. And me, my parents, my younger brother, we were four of us who visited there. And we stayed at a family owned private cottage. Now, while we were there, this place is like, outside the boundary, the geographical boundary of that place, no vehicles are allowed. All four wheelers, two wheelers, everything is parked outside. So within the vicinity of Matharan, all you have is like either you walk around or maybe you take a horse ride. And back then, there used to be also some of them. There were some human drawn rickshaws, like typically that we have witnessed back in Kolkata and many parts of the country. But with time, even that is reduced. At the moment, they only have horses, and maybe you can walk around. There were a lot of bungalows over there of the British officers and government servants from the British times. So it was one of the days, and we were the place where we stayed. There was one more newly married couple who joined us, and we as a family we decided let's go have a look at the sunset point, go check out at the sunset. We are moving over there, and then what we realized is that somehow we are not comfortable. Like if we are heading towards a sunset point, there should be others also who are excited to have a look at the sunset. So how come the road seems isolated? Then we thought probably we must have missed out a turn or two. Okay, let's keep going forward. So there's this couple with us, and we family of four. Total six of us were there, and we keep going. It's about to get dark. Of course, it's sunset, and a very old grandmother arrives. Someone who's not standing straight. She's going big time, holding a walking stick, and she's totally bowed down. And she arrives and she looks at us like this, and she asks us, "Where are we headed?" And we tell her that, of course, my father was talking to her. She spoke a very regional, very, very local dialect of Marathi. So not Marathi as it is, a very local touch of the dialect. And my father spoke with her, and he told her that we are headed towards having a look at the sunset. And then she says, "Don't go from that side, just go from here." The path she directed us. This was not the main path, as in it wasn't the main road, but there were because of the footmarks we could make out the road is being used, but not way too much. We took that path and we were told just walk 5-10 minutes and you will reach there. You'll reach at a point wherein we have arrived at the sunset point. We're like, okay, fine, let's go ahead. We keep going. We keep going, but suddenly my father, my mother, they feel something odd, and once we leave from there, change our path to the right and start going over that side, they turn back to have a look at the old lady. She's gone. She's nowhere to be seen. She was barely able to walk, walking very slowly, very old in age. And how can she just be gone? And disappeared, gone in the air. How is that possible? Fortunately, we reached that place. We have a look at the sunset, and later on, we followed most of the people after the sunset, viewing the sunset, they were getting back to the hotel. So now we knew what path to take. So we reached the hotel back. We reach the hotel back and we speak with the owner of the hotel who's been living there with his family since long time. And my parents narrate everything. And all they say is like, just take it as like it was a good soul who made sure that you don't go that side because a little bit ahead of there, the the road A turns darker because the vegetation in the forest area turns dense. Sunset arriving sooner, it will be more darker, and the road ends abruptly, ending towards a valley. So there's a clear fall down, which is a quite risky one. Anything could have happened. Now, whether you call it as a good soul, whether you call it as a fairy, an angel, we have absolutely no idea. But she appeared to us in the form of a grandmother. Do I stop the demons from attacking my sadhana as soon as I found my Ishtavirta? A lot of life is far harder because of them. Just keep walking the path, Arjuna ji. Don't worry.
Huh.
We'll discuss this separately.
Yes. Yeah.
But this is bound to happen. But trust me,
Yeah.
these are nothing. It's only as long as if you're gonna have vested motives, rather let's be brutal.
Mm.
Let's be brutally honest. If there is a desire of siddhi, of power to be
Huh.
gained from the sadhana, only in that case, these lower entities and energies will be able to superpower you. They'll even disguise as the energy themselves, as the Ishta themselves. Once
Yes.
that hunger for siddhi and power is not there, don't worry. Because all these people they bow down before the Ishta that we talk about. So don't worry. Any kind of
This is what
bhuta,
I'm.
any kind of
Yeah.
negative entity, they will all bow down there.
So like in my sapna, like you feel these entities sit on your chest. You feel them trying to attack you.
Hmm.
Luckily, my Ishtadev is there, which you brought up a really good point there, where just follow the Ishtadev and
Hmm.
everything will be perfect. And I
Correct.
totally agree. And this Ishtadev that I particularly follow, this is a separate conversation that you know about.
Yes, we'll
But
we'll
when
talk
I
that separately.
have
But
followed
don't worry,
my
we'll
Ishtadev,
this issue will be taken care of. Don't worry. You'll be like you'll be glad about it. It will be
they
sorted
look
out.
after exactly, yeah.
Absolutely.
Even though it might be a certain job, a certain person that you're attracted to, or something like this, the Ishtadev comes in and um, it may seem like they're rocking the boat, but in reality, they are like your father or your mother.
Correct.
In the best of, this is all that can. That's the only way to really describe it. Um,
Correct.
so yeah, thank you. And they also, I've noticed that they protect from the demons, but I would much rather that that the demons weren't involved at all. But these things happen, so it's
Correct.
yeah. And it was very interesting what I mean. We were speaking about on a separate conversation about specific
Correct.
locals, etc., and like these angels, etc. These celestial beings. They also look after us in very
Yes.
many ways. Maybe it may even be
True.
such that some of us here are from these higher planets, and we feel kind of out of place in this particular realm.
Correct.
Everything becomes far more clearer once we follow our Ishtadev.
True.
This is it.
True. This is it.
It's very simple. So yeah,
And he further shows the path to everything. So things get peaceful then.
that's exactly it. That's exactly
Correct.
it. It becomes all when you surrender.
Absolutely. That blind faith. That's it.
Mm.
Only him.
This is one of the only cases where I would say that blind faith actually works in our favor, in accordance to our astrological chart and
Hmm.
the way that our Ishtadev lives their life. If we try and follow in this kind of path of righteousness, then everything will work out.
Beautiful.
Everything.
Beautiful. It
Every,
does. Go ahead, Smita ji.
Yes. Sir, as you said in the case study, should we avoid wearing others' clothes, used clothes?
Yes, always. Not
Like
just
if
that.
they,
Not just that. If you have to, let's say you want to give away your clothes, use
yes,
clothes
I
now
was
you
going
don't
to ask
wear
about
anymore.
that. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
not as much. Something that you don't wear anymore. Make sure that you have really have them washed very well, dried up. If possible, give it two wash, well dried, well ironed, and then only give away.
What about, sir, washing with salt water and then drying and then
Of course, we can
giving?
do all that. Certainly, yes.
Okay.
Certainly, yes. But still, as much as possible, try avoiding to give away your clothes to someone who's gonna wear. If you want to support someone, go buy them new pair of clothes. Why not?
Okay. So basically, we have to stop using or giving worn clothes.
Your own clothes. Any vastu. It can be anything.
Okay.
It has an element of you attached to it. No?
Okay, sir.
That's all.
Thank you.
Yes, there was one
um,
more. Someone asking a question.
Hello, so it was me. So my question was about the
Yeah,
people
Rinki
who
ji.
does evil eye on others. So do they suffer their own karma, or just they just have a happy life, they just fulfill whatever they want, and because they're really wasting or doing like mess
Hmm.
in others' life. So what about them themselves?
Thank you, Rinki ji, for asking this question. This question came up as a DM, and I was
Yeah.
actually, I really like this question that there is someone who's asking this. So, which is why I requested let's bring it to the forum. Now, there are what about the people who are doing such things to others? Will they be forgiven? Will nothing happen to them? Will they continue living their life as well? No, that's not the case. Now, let's try to understand. First of all, let's categorize these people. Number one, there are these are those set of people who are probably in some other way they are on the path of having the knowledge of tantra, mantra, spirituality, and still they are using it with the wrong purpose. That's number one. Second set of audience who are not from the spiritual path of any kind. They have heard from someone, or probably they paid someone to do something, and they have done something like this. I think the second category is concerned, they will fall down miserably. Things definitely happen. Moreover, if someone was to turn things back to them, push the energy back to them, the negative one, things will get more worse. On top of it, if they are trying to do the black magic or the prayog or whatever on someone who is strongly on the path of sadhana, who is very strongly attached to the yesterday, trust me, all these category people are going to suffer badly. Because when Ishtadev takes over, it's only him and he does the talking. You don't have to worry about anything else. He'll take care of you. You just rely on him. Let's talk about the first category people. People who are on the path of sadhana, spirituality, or whatever, and still they are doing something like this. What about them? Two things will happen with them. Number one, on their spiritual journey, wherever they had reached, from there they will fall down. They clearly fall down. Why? Because they have done something which is not right. A person has lost his whole life. Something so bad has been done. So their spiritual progress will stop. They'll have to begin things again from level one or step one. What more will happen? Karma. You know, have you heard of it? Something that's watching everyone, something that's not sparing anyone. And especially people like these, because they are the ones who on the spiritual path, they are well aware of something called as karma. And still they act like this. The outcome is going to be way too bad. Who knows, they end up falling into what realm, what lower realm, being with what negative energies going forward, and how many births they might have to take to come back to this Manushya union, be part of the human race and try to work on to reaching to their Ishtadev. Everything gone for a waste. Now, this person, the first case study, the guy was brought into the control and influence of the sadhu. We told him many times, why don't you go back to your sadhu, your guru? You'll feel better over there. You might feel really good. Upfront denial. Upfront denial. That has never happened. Why is it happening now? Because we made sure A, the ghost that was able to control him, that power is not happening. That was released. B, of course, that wasn't done by me. Again, clarifying. So there are far much more better capable people who do that. So that control of the sadhu over this person is gone. He's not able to do anything else now. And poor guy ना धोबी का कुत्ते से भी बुरा हाल हो गया इनका. Worse situation than that. So that's how things are. So Revati ji, no one is spared. None of them. Everyone have to go through a karmic cycle. None can escape it. How do you know who is your Ishta Devata, the one you get connected to, or as per your astrological chart? Here I'll go to be precisely as per my astrological chart, that too only as per my BNN analysis, not BPHS. BPHS has never given me satisfactory results for Ishta Devta calculation. Yes, there are a lot of informations available. Every YouTuber talking, BPHS, the books themselves, the classics themselves are talking about various methods. But trust me, they are not working out. We can do a dipstick study. The level of success ratios that you're getting into BPHS methods, it's completely contradicting to BNN. BNN have actually had far much more successful answers in terms of identifying who is your Ishtadev and what the path further is. There have been cases people have been, I want to respect privacy, so I'm not disclosing much detail, but there are cases where people have been Krishna ji ke bhakt, absolute devotee of Krishna ji. There is no mention of Mahadev or Bhairav or anything. And it's BNN which told me they are going to be on the path of Bhairav and Mahadev. And time answered it. They literally accepted. On that very call, they accepted. You are bang to the point because I can see that pull towards Mahadev very strongly. That experience is happening. And these cases are from our group only. There is not, I've mentioned just one case. I've got series of cases. Within our group consultations only, if I sat down someday to just start sharing the incidents, trust me, there's so much I have got to talk about. But we have to respect privacy. Everyone has privacy, we have to respect it. The answer to your question is I'll go by BNN method. I'll always go by it because I really get my success, satisfactory replies and answers from there. But yes, there's also one more thing. There are scenarios where we say your calling, your Ishtadev is, let's say, Mahadev or Mahashakti or Bhairav and Bhairavi. But it will also happen in time, you will move towards one of the forms of Krishna, one of the forms of Bhagwan Vishnu. Now, whether it is Krishna, whether it is Bhagwan Ram, whether it is Narsimha, Venkatesh Balaji, it could be anybody. That, how will you know? So, A, Ishta will do that. Maybe your heart will say that. You will feel that energy pull. So, if you are really, really feeling that close or, attached to your deity, attached to your Ishta, that voice will come to you. It will automatically come. Trust me. You don't need any other medium. You don't need anybody to tell you that, hey, listen, do this. No, you will know the answer. Why? Because Mahadev also bows down to Bhagwan Ram. And Bhagwan Ram bows down to Mahadev. Is there a pride element over there? Absolutely none. Absolutely none. Look at the beauty of it. No pride element. They themselves know till when you have to be on a path of Mahadev, till when you have to come to me, and till when you have to go to Ram Bhagwan or Bhagwan Krishna ji or whatsoever. So that path eventually happens. But your soul, at your soul, you will always know the answer, what it is. Can I share the story of Ishtadev? Is absolutely Arjuna ji. Please go ahead if you want to share something.
Yeah, of
Most
course.
welcome. Please go ahead.
So I didn't want to necessarily. So I was born into a Vaishnav family, Pushti Marg Vaishnavism, but then I moved to Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and I was living as a brahmachari for about 2 years in Vrindavan, Mathura, Uttar Pradesh region. Um, Born and raised in London, half Indian, not super like Hindu, but very like specific sect of Hinduism. Krishna was my lord, and he is still my lord. He's still my everything. But if we like dissect certain elements of Krishna, Krishna is the perfect element of Vishnu. He has 64 qualities. Vishnu has the 60. So even Vishnu was in awe when Krishna was born, and everyone kind of like. Anyway, this is a different story. But to come to know my Ishtadev, when I was living in India, I had purchased a bangle. And this is the bangle that I still wear every single day, that I bought in Vrindavan, and it has the depiction of two dogs on either side. I had no idea what this meant, but I just thought it looked cool at the time. I wasn't really much into astrology, and it's only like in the last sort of 2-3 years I understood who my Ishtadev was. I bought this bangle thinking it looked cool, and I was like, I don't know of any god that's actually associated with dogs. That doesn't make any sense, but I always had an affiliation towards dogs, etc. And then I came to find that my Ishtadev was actually Lord Bhairav, who is one of the utmost Vaishnavas, performing amazing sadhana and upasana towards Lord Sri Krishna. He's the best Vaishnav in the world, Lord Shiva. And what I'm trying to essentially illustrate here is that you might not know when it's going to come around. You might not know who it is. You might not know. You'll see signs around you. And when you see these signs and when they all line up, you're like, okay. And I went through a breakup in May. Because Ankurji's like very confidential, and I do appreciate that. I told him about a breakup when I actually really got to know Lord Bhairav. And I had a Bhairav deity that I gave to my partner at the time, and she handed it back immediately. Like, this is like too much energy. Like, she couldn't handle it. And I was like, okay. And this is where the Ishtadev is looking after you to the max, and you cannot control this. There's no control. You don't know how it comes about. You don't know why you're attracted to your Ishtadev. There's nothing like I always thought I was just going to be a Hare Krishna, like a Gaudiya Vaishnav for the rest of my life, and I will be. Of course I am, because at the end of the day, my Ishtadev is the best Vaishnav that there has ever been. But at the same time, how can I learn to be the best Vaishnav from myself, from my Ishtadev? But that's how it works. So I'm sorry if this is a very unhelpful answer. This is just like an experience that I've had, and I'm certain that all of you will have this as well, where you see certain synchronicities in the universe, certain alignments, and then you end up at certain temples with certain deities.
Definitely. Arjuna ji, you forgot to mention when you showed the bracelet.
Yeah.
So it is Shwan as in
Yes.
dog, and Shwan is someone who accompanies Kal Bhairav.
That's exactly it.
He stood at the shop.
He's his Viman.
Yes, please share that very moment of those few minutes that you had experience at that shop.
This is very strange. So this happened in Vrindavan, Mathura, when I was brahmachari, and I go to Vrindavan, Mathura every single year, pretty much. And I've asked, can I get the same bracelet from? I can't find it anywhere else, but I found this 12 years ago as a young brahmachari, and that shop no longer exists. And it was given, and I'll never forget the shop owner's name, because his name was Govinda. And he sold me this for 50 rupees. And it's a brass bracelet of two dogs. But you can tell that they're two dogs. They're not lions. They're not like foxes or any other. They are two cleared dogs. I didn't know what was what. Like, at the time, I was a kid, like basically like a 17, 18-year-old brahmachari. And I had this, and it's only in the last 5 to 6 months that I actually have now found I know who my Ishtadev is. The astrology was always there for my Ishtadev, but my Ishtadev has been there since before I knew him. Like he's
Right.
yeah, it's the most beautiful. He's been my father that I didn't even know that he was there, but he's been looking after me and giving me strength.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you, Archunaji, for sharing with everyone.
of course, anytime, anytime.
Actually, I wanted to share a case, but this one I am supposed to be blamed because I got on a call and then there was series of conversations, series of calls I kept having, and eventually I had to update my presentation. I couldn't update. There's a particular celebrity case. There's a celebrity case of paranormal energy, something we all of us have witnessed, and still it is we have gone blindsided on it. Yeah, there have been a lot of Gyanis and Mahagyanis, knowledge of people who have come forward and made a lot of comments. However, the whole thing has gone unseen. Yes, Indian celebrity. So I wanted to include that particular case into the conversation, but something tells me there's going to be a session three. Not so soon. It's going to take some time. A session three on paranormal also will be happening, but it will take some time because I'm going to have someone who's going to join me on the particular session. And that's when we will discuss. So we'll discuss the celebrity case that time. Of course, we will talk facts, figures, nothing made up. I'll put down all the facts and the chart before you, and it will be for your job for you to decode or read it very easily what the chart has to say and what has happened. Unexplainable, absolutely unexplainable. Whole world went against him, but eventually it's the Ishtadev that helps and that really comes into play. That took care of him. So we'll do that particular thing in our next session three, whenever we announce. And next week we're gonna have a new session from my side, something that's absolutely opposite to paranormal or dark entities or energies. So that topic will be on the path of spirituality. So, so far, whatever we shared in the last two sessions, it was with an intent to, me as an astrologer, please try to see things at a more broader perspective. Not everything that seems to us the way it seems is limited to what it is supposed to be. Kotoma. Not everything is what it seems to be. It can be something else altogether. You have to deep dive into it and try to understand. And as an astrologer, we are definitely supposed to do that because it might, at the outset, it might clearly seem, oh, okay, Saturn, Moon, Rahu, this is forming, this is affecting your mental health, or you do imaginations. Okay, that's fine. Rahu Moon combination, everyone knows it gives you conspiracy theories, a lot of imagination, play with your mind. But is that all? What more is at play? Is there any other kind of dosha? Especially, is there any kind of pitru dosha? How is that working out? How is the life of other family members? So there's so much that we have to see and understand. And most importantly, those astrologers who are on the path of sadhana, they will feel it. They get that energy, feel it happens. When you talk to the person, you it automatically happens. You feel that energy, you feel that something is off. There's something different. It will always happen, and you'll get to know. The whole purpose was for us to, get aware that there is something much more beyond what we usually see in our life, in our day-to-day life. Right, this very space where we are, there is a lot more. We are unaware, but is that all? No. There's much more to the reality. So with this, I think let's end our session. If there's no one wanting to add anything, could we about the right hand path? Yes, Arjunaji will be including that as well. Very much will be including that. Right hand path as well as with the tantric path and how these things vary, are similar, what happens in which path will be, all this will be covered in our further upcoming session. And there'll be episodes. So
Right.
one session cannot cover everything. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Slowly, we'll try to cover as much as within my reach. I'll surely try to share and we interact on this. Any
Amazing.
questions,
Thank you, Uncle.
anyone? Yes, PRG?
It could be a dumb question, but
No, don't think that way. Please go ahead.
uh, so, so you did say that Ishtadeva will be, I mean, Kal Bhairava will protect, Ishtadeva will protect, and there's nothing. But in Kerala, I know there's a temple that gives you, 2 days of um, what do you call the cleansing to actually
Mm-hmm.
vomit out all the poison. And
Mm-hmm.
how much of a theory do you connect with all that? Do you think it's possible to?
Okay. So when I say an Ishta Devta will protect, first of all, does that mean no other deity can protect? Absolutely not. Number
Yeah,
one. So
yeah.
assuming I got affected by some energy, let me take my own example instead of mentioning anybody else. I got there's something who was haunted and maybe got me affected. And I happened to go to that temple. I was taken to the temple, someone got in touch with you, you gave the guidance, and we reached that temple. While I'm at that temple, will that Devata or Devi, whichever the deity is, will that Devata or the Devi help me? Yes, they will help me. Will they say, oh no, his Ishta Devta is Mahadev, or maybe Krishna, or maybe Bhadrakali, or someone else? No, that never happens like that. So, what I wanted to share with your PRG is that the Ishtadev plays the most important role. Now, for example, if I was taken at Mendipur Balaji, where
Mm.
it's about Bhagwan Hanumanji, will he help me? Yes, he will. As long as it's within uh, nothing's out of their capability and power, but it's all about my prarabdha as well. If my prarabdha says that I have to go through this kind of a suffering, then nothing can stop it from happening. There cannot be nothing. So it's never that the Devata can fail. How can Devata fail?
Mm.
हो ही नहीं सकता. It's impossible. But why don't we see that what wrong I must have done? To what extent I must have done something so wrong that things have gone so bad in my life? So that's something we need to take care of. Something we need to consider. So
Is
I
there
might be
a
taken to any temple, any deity, any devata. They will always bless me, including my Ishta. And then it also depends on my karma. Because my Ishta is never going to forgive my past prarabdha. That is never discounted. That's never going to happen. Yes, Arjuna ji.
I'm really, I'm so sorry to interrupt everyone as well. One of the most beautiful, if I could just add this, one of the most beautiful things is that um, Lord Jagannath is married to goddess Vimala, who is the form of Bhairavi. Thus, what happens is that everything is interlinked.
Exactly.
There's no such there's no sects that are different. Everything is the like it all comes down to the Trimurti. So ultimately, it all like all of it like there's no sex. There's no like say for example Pushti Mara, Gaudiya Mat, the Mad of Sampradaya. All of it comes into play. Or like even Shiva Sampradayas, etc. All of it comes down to Vishnu or Lord Krishna, really, because even like I had mentioned earlier, like yes, okay, there are certain forms of certain lords or goddesses, etc. But Lord Jagannath was married to Lord Bhairavi in the form of Amala. So we must. This is the mood that we
Krishna
have to
himself
kind
is
of
seen as Ma
adopt.
Kali.
Exactly.
Krishna himself
This is
is
exactly
seen
it.
as Kali.
Otherwise,
That is
Gopi
also
Mahadev would not
absolutely.
exist in Vrindavan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
So
it's like
yeah.
everything eventually comes back just to one singularity.
Hmm. We're a monotheistic faith, but we have so many beautiful, beautiful gods and goddesses that have their specific form that serve a specific function. It's like Krishna is the CEO, but yeah, like this is how powerful the Lord is. He like the CEO of a company employs a CFO, a chief technology officer, a chief
Correct.
innovation officer, whatever, and then it goes down like this throughout the cosmic realm through these demigods or certain kind of beings that serve a purpose. Like obviously we've got Kubera for wealth and Lakshmi Ji for wealth. We've got many. Of course, we all know the examples for certain gods that serve their purpose, but we are a monotheistic faith at the end of the day. But yeah, apologies to interrupt on that one, but
No, that's all right. It's good. It's a good share. Glad you did that.
thank you.
Thank you, Arjuna. Anybody else would like to share, interact before we announce?
So, one more
Yes,
question.
sure.
So,
Go ahead.
after seeing someone's chart, can it be known that the person will pass on negative energies to someone or cast evil eye? Like he will be the one who will be doing these negative things on other people. Can it be known by looking at his chart?
Depends. To some extent, yeah, it depends. To some extent, yes, we can find out. Set of actions can be negative, ill motive, that can be understood. I've had this one such client from a group only. Couple married, they're living in Goa, and husband just kept on threatening, "I'll do this to you, that to you." However, in that particular case, husband was like, more of talks, less of actions, and completely out of capability, being able to threaten his wife. But that threat itself was more than enough to make the wife get frightened. But there we are advisors, just go ahead. Let him do what he wants to do. We'll take care of it. He never did anything because it was such chart is pretty obvious that he can only do talks, nothing else, not in real action. But yes, to be able to say like whether this person will take steps which are negative in the sense of a black magic or a paranormal, it's a little difficult to be said. But then we look at other aspects also.
Free will,
Many
like
people do reading only with the chart. We need to see the person also. And when the person comes before you, a lot can come to light. I'm not saying that everything will come to light, not at all. But there is always a good possibility a lot can come to light.
and that means that the free will comes in the scene in some to some extent. Free will,
Free
free
will,
will.
yeah. Free will is always there.
Yes,
Free
that
will
is
is always there. Absolutely. The person has a choice. You want to become Kiran and do wrong things and, be that negative character who troubled this girl's life. Or you want to be like, okay, move on. Let it be happy ending, both part ways, and look at life beautifully. Seek another partner, another companion. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. So it's
yes, sir.
always our free will, our choice, our decision that we eventually make. That thing is always there. Absolutely undeniable.
Right.
Even the person who does wrong, they always have a choice.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Any questions?
Following that question, sir, from our
Yes, Kiyaji.
chart, do we get to know who would have done that thing to us? Do we get to know?
Yes. So it's not from the chart. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Now, as an astrologer, there are two categories of this to get the answer to this. One, as an astrologer. Second, those high learned ones who rather handle the case. I mean, beyond me, there are more capable ones. When I am reading that particular chart in sync with these able people, yes, I am able to see a certain inputs, and then comes a reply from that side also, which is where I get my affirmations. I don't have any personal biases other than the fact that I have been able to receive absolute precise answers when I do consultations with BNN. So yes, in fact, even in the second case, the lady that we spoke about, we had identified that this lady will be having X, Y, Z kind of relationship with the lady who has suffered the problem. I'm not wanting to disclose much because eventually things get public and these things get spread out, so want to avoid that. But yes, it's very much possible that we can identify more or less what kind of relationship would be there. When the right time comes, we'll be talking about that lady's daughter, the case from where the whole conversation began. And if you were to listen to that case, if your eyes don't turn wet, I'll be shocked. It's just not possible. It's been so delicate. Again, paranormal as well. So we'll come on to that discussion also. There is paranormal involved, there is past life regression involved. Both the factors have been involved. We analyzed her D60 chart. We had the D1, we had D9, we had D60. There was PLR involved, and everything gave us the verdicts like what is going on. And things could be tallied. We could actually compare what is happening, why it's happening, how it's happening. We could get reflections of it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ankurji, one question.
Hanji,
Um, so for a person who is the victim of, say, black magic and all this
correct.
paranormal activity, there will be signs, right? Or is it something that a person is not aware of?
There will be signs. There will be signs. Obviously, there will be. Things will
Yeah.
never turn up in a logical pattern. In this particular
Okay.
family's case, husband, wife, the child, and the daughter, all four going through some other different level of problems. Unfortunately, the chart shows all four prone to getting affected from such things. But the worst hit is the mother and the daughter.
Right.
Um,
And
what
the
But
more
it's the
spiritual side
moral
you are,
it's the moral duty of the father and the brother to take care of them. So Prarabdha says past life connections where they have done something and now they have to play the duty and role of taking care, doing their responsibility. See it from a different perspective now.
is it? Is this because of Manglik Dosh or?
No, 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 no. Not at all. Not at all. Constitution suffer. Not at all. Yes, Someji. There was one more question, whether it's for
yes,
yeah.
I was just trying to add on to say
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
if you're spiritual, right, like a spiritual or very religious,
Hmm.
um, would this impact be lesser, like lesser of an
Absolutely.
impact,
Absolutely.
right?
The impact will be far much lesser.
So
100%.
person who is less spiritual and less religious is more prone to such, or the impact would be more.
Okay. So let's say, forget about religious. Let's go to the next level. Let's take an example, someone who is a sadhak. Now, when I say sadhak, it is not just about uh, going to temple, doing daily puja path. No, we're talking next level. Next level is in someone who does sadhana, mantra sadhana of their particular deity, is so very close and really, really feels attached to their deity far much more than an average human being. So now someone who does sadhana, who's a sadhak, can such a person be affected by paranormal or by someone else who will make use of energies to get command over me? Let's take my example. I am a sadhak and someone wants to take charge over me and make me do things as per what they desire. Can that be possible? Absolutely, that's possible. Absolutely. But for how long? That depends how blessed I am on my sadhana. Number one. Number two, who is this person that I'm dealing with? What is the extent of role of my flaws, my mistakes in this entire mess that has happened? Am I completely innocent? Raste se ja raha tha, I became a target. All of a sudden, something went wrong. Is that the case? Or is it that the other person, also being a sadhak, however, is far much superior, but wants to take away my strengths completely? Even that's possible. So, is that what is happening? Then my Ishta will come into play tomorrow. Because eventually I will receive the divine intervention. That's bound to happen, Stanley. It's bound to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have been a victim of a black magic when I was very young.
Okay.
So, and when we spoke about signs, I did see a lot of signs. And for me,
Yes.
the connection is through dreams.
Yes.
And I did for about a month, I did see ferocious dogs, and they were just attacking me, and that was a sign for me. And
Hmm.
I, and obviously, there wasn't that much of concern from my parents when I was young. But then
Hmm.
eventually, when health was getting impacted, is when um, like medication wouldn't work. So over a span of 6 months, I would say I had cerebral malaria, I had typhoid, I had dengue fever, everything, and I survived through
Hmm.
all of those. But
Hmm.
then my mom was the one who was like, okay, there's something wrong and it's beyond our control. So that's when I would say there was an intervention from, a consultant that we consulted, and they did confirm, and whatever process they went through and did at home kind of helped me recover from
Correct.
all the health conditions that I had. And also the amazing part is he said he cannot say who did it, but he said, I'll get a dream in 21 days, and the person who did it would come to my dream and say sorry. So exactly 21 days, I did have a dream, and again relatives. So I had them, and they came to my dream and they said sorry. So that's how I know that they were the ones who did it. Again, I don't know how, in what manner they did it. Most probably it was the food that was coming into the
Hmm.
house or anything that could be. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to share since we are talking about paranormal activity. So one of
That's good
the
you shared.
yeah, it was a painful um year for
Right.
me,
How old were you?
especially um about 22 years.
Ah,
I was studying,
this is shocking.
and
Yeah.
I still remember I was failing my exam. I couldn't focus. I or either used to postpone my exam for that year. That was the worst year of my life. I couldn't focus. That was and then the dreams, and then I see some shadow figure, lady appears as a shadow as I wake up in the night, middle of the night. So things of that sort happened. Eventually, my mom was the one who kind of like had some knowledge of all these, so she kind of helped. But it was very end of the game, you can say. After I suffered a lot is when they realized, okay, it could be something that's out of our control.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Everything is timed.
yes, I believe so.
Everything is timed. And things happen just at the right time and the help arrives.
Yes, and I think I had more strong belief on certain things post that experience. I think that was one of a kicker in my life that you can say that pushed me towards believing in Christ or like even my path to spirituality.
Right.
So
I'm glad you're out of it and may you have a blessed life ahead always. But I would someday want to really dive into your chart. Let's see when that happens.
yes,
When do we get to connect? Right. Someday.
I think there is time for it.
Yeah.
I believe so. But
Let's
yeah,
see.
I would
No
love to
problem.
get discuss a lot about my experiences now with you. I feel that the psychic side of you can really help me in answering more questions.
Maybe if I'm the medium, then it's Mahadev, it's his will. My every reading,
Right.
it's only to him. So I'm just acting as a medium and then he blesses, the answers will come and It's up to him to give the precise answers. Then always is will. Let's wrap it up. See you next week. We shall make the announcement. The topic will be around spirituality, and the details will be shared soon in the group. Thank you so much for your inputs. Thank you for your valuable time. Thank you, Wallet and Pradita ji. Shibu sir, thank you so much. Glad we had a good session. Thank you, Dipali ji. Har Har Mahadev.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.